Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'll be sharing with you how to make a sleeve for this finished blouse. So if it's something you're interested in, please watch the video to the end and don't forget to support me by subscribing to my channel, make comment and like the video. So let's dive in. Now the first thing you need to do is to check the length of your armhole. The reason why most times we have issues with our sleeve is we're not checking the length of the armhole. After you've sewn your dress, before fixing your sleeve, you're supposed to check the length of your armhole and make sure if it's accurate. If it's accurate, then the next thing is to just fix your sleeve. Why, if it's not, you need to adjust the length of the armhole. Let's assume the length of my armhole is lesser, so I'm supposed to increase it by my actual length measurement before fixing my zip. Same thing when it is lower, you're supposed to know how you adjust it before fixing your sleeve. So most times if we don't fix it, that's why we have issue raising hand up. Now the next thing is I'm taking round of the armhole measurement. Yes, I'm taking the whole of my armhole measurement, so I'm going to take the whole and note it. Now you can do this on your pattern drafting or on your finished fabric. So the next measurement we'll be needing is the bicep, the length of the sleeve, and so let's start. Now the length of the sleeve I'm cutting is 11 inches. So the bicep, you divide whatever you have on your armhole on the dress and divide it by 3, so that is your the length of your bicep. So you mark it and you start interpreting the horizontal measurement. Now my bicep is 12 inches. 12 divided by 2, and no, my bicep is 13. 13 divided by 2 give me 6.5. So I'll mark it and look for the midpoint of 6.5 inches. From that end, I'll come down from the midpoint by 2.5 inches. Now the 2.5 inches is not standard, it all depends on the type of sleeve you're cutting. So I'll connect it to the tip of my sleeve, then I'll connect it back to the bicep line. Yes, you can see that's how I got my sleeve crown. Now I'll measure the whole of what I have and make sure it's exactly what I'm looking for the armhole line and circumference. Now I'll go back to the length sleeve. I'll measure my round arm. So the round arm is 11 inches divided by 2, which gave me 5.5. So I'm interpreting my 5 and I'm connecting the biceps and the sleeve length. Now this is my basic sleeve. Now from here, now I can decide to change it to whatever style I want. Now I'm just trying to mark out quarter inches from the crown of the sleeve. Yes, the quarter inches is to indicate the front pattern. The front is a bit in than the back, so I'll be indicating it so that when I cut my pattern, I'll cut off the excess and know that is for the front and the back. So my pattern paper is on fold and you can see me cutting out the sleeve. Now this is a basic sleeve. It is a basic sleeve. Now you can decide to change it. Now going with this style of the sleeve I'm cutting, it has a little bit of a variation, so I'm trying to change the sleeve now to the style. So I measured from the crown and I'm trying to shape it to what I want. Yes, the sleeve has a particular sharp design at that point, so that's what I'm trying to, using my ruler to curve it out to a particular design I want. So I'm taking off the excess from my pattern paper. Now if yours doesn't have design, you can just keep the initial design and just cut out. Now the next thing is to transfer my pattern on my fabric. I've folded my fabric into four, and you can see the center is on fold, so I'll be placing my pattern piecing. Now the design I'm working with adds fullness at the crown. So and I this length is too small for me, so I'm increasing the length to 2 inches, including my seam allowance. So I'm just trying to mark the length, and I'll reshape the the style line I did for the hemline. Yes, I'm going to reshaping it on my pattern, on my fabric, so that that particular design can come out. Now the next thing is to add my seam allowance, and it has a fullness at the crown, so I added 1.5 inches to the crown. Now you can decide to do slash and spread, but I don't want to do my slash. I don't want to do slash and spread, so I decided to add directly to the fabric. Yes, without touching the sleeve. Yes, I decided to add 1.5 inches, and you can see the way I added it. It's not getting to the down part, so it's just having some little fullness at the crown. So I'm done tracing the pattern. Now the next thing is to cut out my pattern. Now if you notice at the crown is looking very sharp, so you need to adjust it and take off the excess. So this is me adjusting it. I'm notching the allowance I added for the pleating on the crown of the sleeve. Now I'm done cutting lining for the sleeve. Now the next thing is to attach the lining to the sleeve, and that's me attaching the lining, joining my lining to the sleeve and following the shape of the hem of the sleeve. Yes, you need to follow it out. It's a kind of V, is not equal at that down part. So I'm just trying to follow the design of the sleeve. So, so I'm done cutting. The next thing is I'll notch the seam allowance and turn the sleeve inside and give it a good press for both the two sleeves. As you can see, I've turned it inside and I've pressed it. Then the next thing is to sew the seam allowance at the side. Yes, I've closed the sleeve. I've closed the sleeve. So this is this design is given already. So I'm going to press it to bring out that the shape at the down part. Yes, I want it to be very obvious, so you need to press it very well and give it a nice, the person will give it a nice look. Yes, you can see it's now coming out to what I want. Yes, it's looking the way I want it. Now after I'm done pressing, the next thing is I'm fixing it to the top. Now you can see I match the seam allowances at the sleeve and the underarm. Yes, and try to reduce the bulk of the sleeve. Yes, you need to match it together. That the two lines have they need to meet. So that's why I'm using my pin to pin it down, and I'll start sewing. So you can do that by pinning your sleeve down to the armhole before sewing. Yes, so you can pin it down. The notch is coming exactly on the shoulder line. Yes, the shoulder seam. Now that pleat that 1 inches I added that I'm going to put on the crown of the sleeve is coming at the top. So you need to figure out all those things, yes, before sewing. So this is me sewing the sleeve to the body. Yes, I'm trying to note where the pleats, I'm going to start forming my pleat. So it's coming exactly on the crown of the sleeve. So that shoulder, that my shoulder tip, yes, that's where I'm going to pleat that my 1 inches. And you know the 1 inches is on both sides, so it's like 3 inches excess I have there. So if yours is not having any pleats, you don't need to add it. Like if you don't want it to have any fullness at the crown, you don't need to add it. You can just use your sleeve, the cap of the sleeve, the way you cut it. But because this particular style is having that fullness at that part, that was why I added my 1.5. It can be more than that depending on you. So this is, now I'm done fixing. You can see me removing up my pin and trying to fix it. You can see the underarm and the sleeve, the side seam are equal. Yes, you need to make sure they are equal. You can see the way it's looking already. So the next thing is to fix the other side of the, now the same thing I did to the first one by making sure that the allowance, they meet at the side seam and the under the arm, on the arm seam, all are meeting at the same point. So that's the same thing I'm going to do to this one too. And also I'm going to take note of the crown of the sleeve. Yes, that's measuring to the shoulder, the tip of the shoulder. Yes, and I'll take note of the excess I have. I'm going to pleat to the, now if you have not hit the subscribe button, what are you still waiting for? So this is my sleeve and I'm done fixing.